Good morning, everybody. Let's see what the date is. It's Thursday, April 29th. And a little overcast out. This isn't going to be a long video. I stated in my previous live stream that I wasn't going to sit and read the book or whatever. But you know what? I was thinking about it. What the hell? I wrote it. I might as well read it. If somebody wants to listen to it, I'll read it. Like, remember in the other video, I said, oh, well, I'm not going to sit there and listen. But, well, yeah, well, okay. Things change sometimes. So, I'm going to read a chapter that is, and look, same coffee cup. I haven't even washed it yet. Just kidding. I rinsed it. You know, you're single guy. You got glasses. We just rinse them. Do we rinse the plates too? I think I just rinse plates sometimes. But then I do use soap and water. I'm not a total fill in the blank. So I was bored and I figured, let me read some of this crazy book. I didn't really know what chapter to pinpoint, but I just figured maybe yep, cigarette. Bad. Cigarette alert, cigarette alert. Here's a book, you know, the crazy ass book. They dead missed. You seen it all. Yep. There's Joe with the damn book again. He lost his mind, that Joe. Alright. Let's go to work. Alright. How many chapters are in here? You think I would know? You think I would know? Well, you know what? I should read the introduction to the damn book. Okay? I'm going to read the introduction. What motivates a person to write a book? Fair question. Some authors may just want to create a conventional, old-fashioned story that hopes to be entertaining. Just write a story that hopes to be entertaining. I'm guessing that the majority of writers out there are just trying to paint a canvas based on wide-ranging interests and coloring them in with captivating scenarios. Yeah, set the table, fill it up, boom. Take them for a ride, take them for a journey, keep them immersed in inside your story theme or whatnot. So, to put it simply, that's what it's all about. It's probably safe to say that most people have a story to tell and like sharing them within their inner circle of family and friends. But what experiences are so far from traditional stories that they inspire a person to want to share them with a worldwide audience? I thought this was I'm going to share it, whatever, who the hell wants to listen to it. That's all. That's all. I'm giving them away. Oh, I want to give them away. Well, why can't I just read some damn stories for somebody? The friends that are kind enough to view it. Here's a story. What the hell? I mean, share it. Share the damn shit. If somebody's willing to listen to it, then I want to share it with them. I can't even give them away. Well, people might accept them or whatever. But that's all right. It's all good. I have fun. I have fun. That's all there is to it. Yeah, look. Yes, folks, there's Joe. He's reading a book on Facebook. Facebook? Book. We got the book. There's the face. There's the book. Facebook. Okay? And there's the cigarette. Face crook. There are many books out there possessing many topics from A to Z. There are thousands of subject matters to match the infinite curiosities and interests of the world populace. I will attempt to share my experiences as eloquently as possible. Eloquently as possible. Within those experiences, there are many spiritual occasions where the forces of good and evil show their face. You could bet your bottom dollar there's forces of good and evil out there. And if you don't believe that, wait till one of them bites you in the ass, or on the other side, gives you a good blessing. I not only want these stories to be entertaining to you, but I would hope they somehow resonate within the inner depths of your mind, soul, and spirit. I also hope they'd initiate an open mind in a non-judgmental and less critical way of your conformed past experiences. Have an open mind. Listen, anything's possible out there in the world. Believe me, not just everything you can touch and put your finger on. So, everybody has a right to their beliefs. That's all. I'm not forcing any beliefs on you. Any beliefs on you. Just some people are into things, some people aren't. That's all. So, what I'm trying to say more or less is don't just be another closed-minded, humanistic robot. Yes, that robot is a common word in my videos. Seems that way. It's like a common denominator. It's just not nice to be a robot and get influenced. Walk around. I mean, you have a right to investigate your own thoughts and judgments. Maybe some are right, some are wrong. I've been wrong many times, but investigate it. That's all. That's all. I'm into that kind of shit. Life. We only got one life. We might as well try to investigate as many things as we can investigate. If that's your thing. One, like myself, in reflection, would never have guessed what a wild journey my life has been thus far. I try to write. Yeah. I didn't write. One, like myself, in reflection, would have never guessed what a wild journey my life has been so far. No, I put a wild journey my life has been thus far. Oh, wow. Many of us live our lives in such a plutonic routine and usually become somewhat safe and secure within our traditional beliefs about life and death. Yes, everybody has their own beliefs about life and death. Of course. When the stories are all completed, I hope that I have challenged you and dared you to think outside the traditional constraints of yours and our minds. So, that's that. So, trying to go through the chapters and trying to, I'd like to believe they're all interesting. How about chapter 3? I mean, there's life and death there. If somebody wants to comment and wants to hear about my death experience, and another friend of mine that I was in the room with him when he came back from the abyss or the other side or whatever, wherever he was. He told me where he was, but I'll read that another time. It's too early for that shit. Okay? It's 9 o'clock in the morning. Damn it. Listen to me good. Elton John. Someone saved my life. All right. Let's see. Courtroom stories. Courtroom. Can I even navigate my own book? I'm a rookie. Yep. Let's see. Courtroom stories. I think I just entertained myself. Yeah, I lost my mind. That's all right. So let's see. Chapter 3. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to read. Oh, the story. Oh, I'm going to read this shit. I'm going to read every bit of this in the future. Every bit of it. Why the hell not? Somebody wants to go on Amazon books. That's fine. But I got 2 more boxes of them. And you know, people, you mean you can't give shit away, let alone try to sell a book. You can't give. Just try to just say, hey, excuse you. You know, you see people that you might just have acquaintances. Hey, do you read? Do you read? Yeah, here, read a book. What is this? Poison? Come on, people, don't be scared, little. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be nice and kind and loving. Okay. All right, chapter 3, courtroom. Sometimes in life, we end up in courtrooms, and the nerves are there, and this and that, and this bullshit, and everything else. I just lost my one viewer. What? Must have been something I said. Bye, and have a good day. Or some say, bye-bye. What's Jim Carrey, Cable Guy. All right. What the hell's going on here? You people, or you one person is getting very impatient with me. We try to have a little fun over here. We're not tight asses. Let's enjoy. All right, prior to this chapter, I was working for this Chinese guy, and he eventually moved out of the country. And I was selling marijuana, and I was a dishwasher at this really high-end restaurant. And everything was easy. I was still in school, and everything was easy. My classes were easy, and I never failed to make the dean's list. Woo, big deal. The girls were also easy, and not to toot my own horn, it seemed as if they were coming out of the woodwork after me. I don't even know why I wrote that in there. What the hell's wrong with me? People are gonna mistake me. No wonder I can't sell any damn books. I felt like a king, and was blessed in everything I pursued and entertained. Then came a day when that was all interrupted. I was driving through the ghetto after scoring a pound of marijuana when my car got pulled over by the police. It was more than a pound of marijuana, but I was afraid to write it in the damn book. I'm still afraid. I couldn't imagine what I can't imagine what I did wrong, because I always obeyed the traffic rules as if my life depended on it. I tried to be as cool, calm, and collected as I could be as the police officer approached my car. I produced the necessary information and then asked the officer why I was being stopped. He quickly stated that I ran a red light, and I knew that was a complete lie. Rotten bastard. Forgive me. He ordered me out of the car, and my heart was racing because I knew I was doomed. I had all this herb. His partner approached my car, and he looked familiar to me. He then asked me, "What's a white boy like you doing in the jungle today?" Before I could reply, I got a better look at these officers, and I realized that they were the notorious pair of detectives nicknamed Batman and Robin. These 2 boys were badasses, man. They went around the city busting people for their drugs, doing this. They were just rocking and rolling, these 2 detectives. These 2 detectives, I mean, they were worse than the criminals. So These two had a checkered past when dealing with criminals from all over Buffalo, New York. I realized an associate of mine being busted for a large amount of drugs in the past. I recalled, I'm sorry, I can't read my own thing. I recalled an associate of mine being busted for a large amount of drugs in the past. But when he became aware of the charges, the documented quantity of the drugs was much less than what he was possessing when he got busted. People get busted for 10 ounces of whatever, cocaine, marijuana, and then the officers may report some and keep some. They might document some and keep some, or some might just keep all of it. Say, and that's fine for the criminal. Hey, I ain't got to go to court. But that's what happens. That's what happens. I got to say good morning to Joe. Good guy. It's the least I could do for somebody that's willing to watch me. I got that part down packed. It's not that hard, I don't reckon. Once you start to get the stick. So where were we now? Oh, about the you get busted. So of course any drug dealer would love that to happen to them. But then again, you'd ask yourself why these officers did that. You don't have to be a genius to figure out that they were selling the drugs or using the drugs or both. When I became of my charges, I was only being charged with less than 1/4 of a pound of marijuana. Yeah, I believe that was the case. So, it's been a long time. I had a brain injury and stuff. Maybe I'm off a little bit, but it's the general idea of the story. So, I'll run into some guy 35 years later. Oh, Joe, you know what? You were off a half a pound or something. Okay. I was confused when I started to go to court as I became aware that nothing was adding up. I didn't know if the amount that I was being charged for would have consequences relating to either a long or short amount of jail time. I was trying to obtain a lawyer that was referred to me by an owner of a restaurant where I often went. That was and my memory is really, really bad. Really bad. The Anchor Bar. Anchor Bar started the chicken wings. It was kitty corner to the business school in Buffalo. So I got referred to a guy there. I had happened to be in there at times when this guy was there in the past just by accident. But, so, talking to him for the first time by phone while he was in Florida, he assured me that he would be back home for the upcoming hearing. The judge sitting for me on my case was an Afro-American male, wheelchair bound, and hair done in jerry curls. He had jerry curls, how that was a style, Afro-American. They had the jerry curls back in the day, the 80s. If you see entertainers, some Afro-American entertainers, they might have had that. So I figured this guy beat the odds. He's just wheelchair bound and everything, and maybe he has mercy for the underdog. So the first time he entered the courtroom, I felt like I was a character out of a Twilight Zone episode. At the same time, I felt relieved and hopeful that an underdog such as this judge would somehow have mercy on me. As our court dates commenced, either the detectives would not show or my lawyer wouldn't show, continually frustrating all parties involved and, more importantly, infuriating the judge. Yeah, this was going on, and I was like, let's get this shit over with, folks. On what would become my last court date, I found myself without my lawyer once again. On that morning, I called his number only to find out that he was still in Florida. I was petrified to see how the judge would react this time. As he rolled into the courtroom, his eyes quickly peered in my direction and found me sitting by myself. One thing I knew was that the case would be settled one way or another on this day. During the months of the proceedings, there were more news reports about Batman and Robin being corrupt and currently under investigation by the Internal Affairs Department. It's like the police policing themselves on maybe some bad actors in the police department, and they'll investigate it and see what happens. So, I thought that couldn't hurt me, as the judge ordered me to stand up to be addressed. Sorry, I'm fragmenting this. I'm not doing this too smoothly, but I'm trying hard. He started reciting many statutes and shockingly asked me if I preferred to represent myself and finish the case that day. All right, for the legal genius minds out there, more or less that what was said. If somebody says, oh no, you can't do this, you can't do that, I'm learning. I had to learn. When I overdosed and was dead, my mind was blank. And I just want to say this one more time. And I had to learn my name again. I didn't know who I was, how I looked. I didn't have any history, any past schema, knowledge, anything. So I'm trying, I'm connecting the dots back and trying to do this. So, that's that. So, I hesitantly agreed to do so and had to approach the bench to sign some legal documents. What these documents were saying, more or less, was that if I lost the case, I couldn't cry about it by not having legitimate counsel. I believe that was the gist of it. I could not. After order was restored, the judge announced that he'd be asking me a series of questions. He started by asking me where I came from and where I worked. In answering, I told him that I was a student at a business school. He asked me what I was majoring in, and I told him that I was trying to earn a dual degrees in business and marketing management, and then transferred to a 4-year school thereafter. He paused while staring at me and in a cocky manner asked me how my grades were. Quickly responding, I told him that I was on the dean's list every semester. His next pause seemed like an eternity when he finally asked me to define marketing management. Like, yeah, come on, smart guy. You're going to school for marketing management? Define it. Yeah, okay. I don't blame him. There was murmuring in the courtroom while I was preparing the definition in my head. I asked the judge if he wanted the layman's version of the definition or the textbook version of the definition of marketing management. With a brash smile on his face, he said that it would please him in the court for me to give him a textbook definition. I was somewhat relieved and confident because I knew that on the first day of class, my professor had that definition engraved into the students' brains. The suspense was at its peak as I started to give the definition without hesitation. Your Honor, marketing management is any human activity directed at satisfying the needs and wants of consumers in the exchange process. An uproar quickly ensued in the courtroom as the judge tried to bring back order while pounding his gavel repeatedly. As everything was restored to order, he sat in deep thought for a brief moment, which felt like an eternity to me. That's when he called the DA and myself up to the bench, and he started to reveal that this was going to be an illegal search and seizure case. The DA had a beaten look on his face because he was smart enough to realize that his arresting officers and witnesses were the most corrupt law enforcement agents anywhere known to mankind. Yeah, they were bad. He did not have a leg to stand on. The judge then informed me to use my business skills in a proper and traditional method rather than selling reefer. I was told that under the double jeopardy laws that my case could never be revisited and remain sealed forever. I think that's what it was, the double jeopardy. If you people have legal minds out there, whatever. But whatever the legal term was, they can't go back afterwards, I don't reckon, and say, oh, hey, no, that case was tried, that's done. You had your shot, law enforcement, judicial system, but that's the decision. So, I was told, okay, that they could never revisit. In other words, this case never happened. Once again, I give thanks to Jesus and my guardian angels for rescuing me out of another perilous situation. All right. Here's another story that I might have touched upon when I was in a convenience store. A couple of months later, on a somewhat uneventful evening, you know, there's a mistake in my book right there. Right there. I never caught it. Proofread it 9,000 times. It says, a couple of months later, on a somewhat eventful evening. No, how did we not catch that? How the heck did we not catch that? On a somewhat uneventful evening. It's the power of suggestion. It's the power of suggestion when you're reading. That's how strong the power of suggestion is. Yeah, ain't that crazy? Well, it was a somewhat uneventful evening. Okay? I went to the neighborhood convenience store to buy my usual soda and candy bar. While getting cashed out, a small black man that reeked of liquor brushed up against my left side, and I told him to back the fuck off of me. Before I got the last words out of my mouth, I realized that he was raising up a black automatic gun. He told me to shut the F up and pointed the gun to my chest. He then, now listen, let's backtrack. Yeah, and I identified him as the small black man. I'm just describing. It doesn't mean that I'm just trying to say with any other type of meaning. I'm just describing the character. That's all. I could have said it was just a man did that. Okay, but if somebody's, let's continue. He pointed the gun at my chest. He then aimed the gun at the cashier and told her to give him the money. She was very nervous and started to give him the money as if she was counting change back to a customer. Yeah, she was shocked. She was counting change back. Like, you know, this pissed him off real bad. My mind was racing with many thoughts, and all I wanted to do was get out of there as soon as possible. While he was shuffling with the money, he set the gun down on the ice cream freezer. That offered me the opportunity to run out of the store. I was running down this long parking lot. I ran in a zigzag pattern, fleeing from the store. I was in fear that he would open the door and shoot me in the back. I made it to a pizzeria where I shouted to a friend of mine to quickly call the police because the stop and go just got robbed. The police arrived within a couple of minutes, and the cashier and I quickly briefed them as to what just took place. Then I had to ride in the police car throughout the neighborhood to look for him, to no avail. They took my information down, and they said they would contact me if they needed me for anything. Okay. About a year has passed since the store robbery. I arrived home one afternoon and was informed by my neighbor that the police were there looking for me. I then called the police department to inquire about what they had wanted. After being on hold for many minutes, an officer told me that they were having a trial as we spoke and needed me as a witness. He knew my address and was coming to pick me up as soon as possible. We arrived at the courthouse. We waited outside of the courtroom, and he instructed me that I'd be going right to the witness stand. Yeah, I'm home, going home, and now all of a sudden, get in a car. They're having a trial. Here, go right. Well, wait right here. Now you're going right in for this to the witness stand for when I was present at this robbery, and now I'm going to be interrogated. In which I didn't like the bastard that did it. Yeah, here, you want to rob people, you little piece of shit. But it was kind of, kind of like, what the hell? But nonetheless, I wanted to get him. Get him. They better put him in jail, because if I'd have seen that bastard on the street again walking around the west side, I would have got him. I would have got him. Forget about prison. That'll be a cakewalk to what I would have done with this guy. Not to digress. Back to the book. So, we arrived to the courthouse and we waited outside of the courtroom, and he instructed me that I'd be going right to the witness stand. The second I went through the doors, the judge instructed the DA to call the next witness, which was myself. As I approached the witness stand, I felt like I was in a Perry Mason episode. For those who don't know that, there was an old lawyer show back in the 50s and 60s, Perry Mason. Really good episodes. Real good, interesting episodes back then. He asked me if I was in the convenience store on a particular night, and I replied yes. He then asked me if anyone else in the courtroom was in the store that night. Yeah, the Trish, were you here on the night of so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I was there. So, was anybody in there? Yeah, I told him, yes, sir, that little scumbag sitting over there at the table. The judge then interrupted me and scolded me because of my language. He then asked me, what was he doing in the store that night? I then responded that he was robbing the store at gunpoint. He then said, that's all I have for this witness, Your Honor. The judge's attention was now focused on the defendant's side of the courtroom. The defendant had retained a public defender. I found him to be sad and humorous at the same time. This guy looked like he was 12 years old and hadn't even started shaving yet. The poor bastard didn't have a leg to stand on and didn't even cross-examine me or whatever. Or maybe, in the legal terms, maybe he had the chance and didn't want to legally examine me with questions. And it was it. So, if the legal minds out there, maybe it was vice versa, but you get the gist of it. Okay? Don't be so critical if you're going to say, oh, wait a minute. The defendant has the right to examine the witness first, and then the DA or the state thereafter. Okay. I found it to be sad. This guy looked like he was 12. He didn't start. The poor bastard didn't have a leg to stand on, and he didn't even cross-examine me. The judge then told me to step down from the witness stand, and I was free to leave. I remember walking past the defendant's family and hearing them say, MF. They're outside the courtroom. They just heard me point that finger. Yeah, remember the other stuff? I said point the finger. Well, this time I pointed the finger first to put a criminal away. Not to point the finger in judgment, which was in my other videos. So, yeah, I point the finger at this bank robber who pointed a gun at me. Maybe I might have had a different view. I mean, I felt sorry for this poor girl, but you don't want to get involved. But when somebody points a gun and your life is right in a half an inch of pulling that trigger, yeah, then that's a different story. I want to put them away in jail or find them in the streets and get even. Which we're supposed to forgive our sinners, but it's a tough one when they got a gun on your ass. So I went outside the courtroom and the family was going, MF, Baba. I was instructed to wait by the officer to wait outside the courtroom. I was instructed by the officer to wait outside the courtroom and to wait for him for my ride back home. While waiting, a few of the defendant's family members approached me in a hostile manner. I told them to shut the F up and said that scumbag pointed a gun at two people that night for less than a $20 bill. You know, you wonder, you see these stories of people holding up places and this and that. But holy cow, even a criminal, a desperate criminal, you don't have bigger dreams than to pull a gun out and go for a $20 bill? Wow. You go sit in prison for armed robbery for 12 to 15 years. How do you do that time knowing you held for less than $20? Wow. Sit there and think about that. You freaking, I don't want to go there. Okay. They were waiting outside, approached me for less than a $20 bill. No sooner, we're out there, we're outside the courtroom, and I'm having an interaction with this scumbag's family. No sooner than that was said, an officer scooped me up and brought me back home. I found out later that this bum was sentenced to 25 years because he had been found guilty of many other robberies across the city. Yeah. So, that's that story, the courtroom stories. How much time is this? That's 36 minutes. So, let's see. All right. I don't know if I should get into anything else because these drag on. I'll do another chapter, maybe at another time. And a car accident miracle. The car accident miracle. I can't do the story with meeting with the steel business and meeting with the feds because that's connected to the prior chapter, and that would take too long. That would take too long. Perhaps a Sunday morning or something, and it's pretty complicated. I mean, I don't read books. I wrote a book, but I don't really read books, and it's like, I don't read books, but, whoops. Tony, see, I just get one friend that, I get one friend, that's it. My friend Tony, childhood friend. He's family. He's family. It's it. I miss all you guys, man. I miss you guys. I'm doing this, Tony. Thinking, what the hell is this Joe doing up here with this? What the hell? I'm boring. I gotta get in the mix. I gotta get in the mix. I'm out of the mix. I gotta get with the program. I gotta get with the damn program. Yeah. I'm doing another thing. I was I was doing a chapter about the book. I was doing a couple of courtroom stories, whatever the chapters were. One was when I got busted for quantity of marijuana. It was a legal search and seizure. And then another one was I was in a convenience store when they got robbed. And then there was a courtroom story after that. There was a courtroom story after when I got busted for the herb. But it was all thrown out. It was an illegal search and seizure. So that's that. That is that. Got this nasty cigarette in my mouth. That's all there is to it. You know what? I don't give a shit. Forgive me, folks. I'm gonna read this mother effer. I'm gonna read it because I'm not gonna go on for weeks and weeks reading this thing. Uh, I can't do that story. How about an overdose? How about an overdose story? You want to hear some crazy shit? Yeah, let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. When you overdose, you wonder out there, yeah, so and so overdosed. What happened? Was he dead? What happened there? Were you dead? Yeah. Sometimes you die and you don't come back. Sometimes you die and then you come back. Me, I was blessed by the God mercy of God and the angels. You're looking at a dead man. A dead man. You're looking at a dead man right now. But I'm alive. Thank you, Jesus. All right. Let's go to my overdose because I might want to ask the other guy. Okay. Prior to this overdose, my buddy overdosed in the hospital. So I'm setting this story up that my buddy overdosed less than a year prior to this, and that was quite a crazy story in here. It's in here. This talk about angels and demons, and yeah, they're real. So less than a year later, like I didn't learn my lesson by watching him be overdosed and visiting him and being dead and whatever, and then that's in the story. That's in the story. I'm not gonna recite that right now. Okay, but that sets the table. Less than a year later, I overdose. A normal person would think that after experiencing Brian's overdose and divine interventions, that would be more than enough to make me quit doing drugs. Like most drug addicts, I kept putting it off and putting it off until sometime in the future. There was a more urgent sense to quit because my mind and spirit felt much different after Brian's overdose. I believed that I was under attack from them same demons that were trying to kill him. Yeah, I mean, whether you believe this kind of stuff or not, whoever might view this in the future, whether you believe that kind of stuff or not, you could feel this presence of, you go through your life in such a way, but then there's darkness on you, on the horizon, pending here. It's on you. It's a bad reality, a day-to-day reality while you're immersed in drug addiction. So, like I didn't have enough demons on me being a drug addict. After his overdose and in that room, what happened in that room with those angels and demons, and he came back, I think some of them demons were like, yeah, here, you want some too? We're on you, Joe. You want some too? Okay. Better hope them angels save you like they saved your buddy. Okay, so those demons were on me. There were a lot of strange and unexplainable events that started happening. One of these events consisted of me going to a friend's house to give him a ride somewhere. Now, you folks can believe this story or not, but this happened. So I go to the friend's house to give him a ride. I pulled into his driveway and waited for him to come outside. I gave a quick beep of my car horn and I waited. I was starting to get a little frustrated because I was doing this guy a favor. I opened up my door, stood up, and noticed that his house door was opening up. I hollered to him, "Hurry the hell up, let's get going." He stopped and looked at me with the most terrifying look on his face. And darted back into the house. I couldn't figure it out, and I drove away mad and aggravated. While driving away from his house, my phone rang and it was his sister calling. His sister and I were very close, and we had a history together. She had the most beautiful spirit about her, and she does have the most beautiful spirit about her. She's an angel on earth. Put up with me for years. She had the most beautiful spirit about her and was just a beautiful person in every way imaginable. She expressed to me that her brother Tommy had just called and told her one of the craziest stories that she had ever heard. I asked her, what did he say? She said he told her that when I got out of my car, this is wild, that when I got out of my car, my face metamorphosized into some kind of demonic creature. Now, folks, that might be a little much for you to believe. Yeah, Joe, you're telling stories here? Boy, that's a story, all right. Yeah, if you had demonic and then crazy experiences, but you could believe whatever you want. You believe what you want. So he tells her, wow, he was going to go to my car, but my face changed, metamorphosized into some kind of demonic creature. And I remember the look on his face. He come out of the door, and I'm looking. I'm going, come on, Tom, I'm waiting over here. Let's go. And he's looked at, and he darts in the house, and I'm wondering, does this guy want to ride or not? I'm going out of my way. I'm trying to help, be nice, bum, 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 bum. And so now if that wasn't bad enough, he also told her that my head spun around and did a complete 360. Okay. I tried to brush it off and asked her, how the hell do you expect me to respond to something that is so bizarre? We both knew that Tommy was a level-headed thinking person. Tommy stayed away from me and never talked to me again until 3 years later. I said, I don't want nothing to do with this guy. I don't want nothing to do. He didn't talk to me or whatever that was, but real good guy. They're real good people. So that was that. So this was strange stuff that was happening. Those demons from when I was in that hospital with him, with Bry, boy, they were on me. Things were happening. As a reader, you might or might not believe some of these stories that I'm telling you. But as a writer, I could care less about whether you believe them or not. I'm sorry to be so blunt. Everyone has their own perceptions, judgments, and realities of the world that we live in. The only thing that I say is that these stories are true. And hopefully they can serve someone in a positive manner. I don't know about positive manner. Just saying, oh, that was wild. If it entertains you, it entertains you. This brings us to another event that is unexplainable and unbelievable. Now you people wonder why I'm nuts. Experience these things that are unreal and unbelievable, and then thinking, just go back on living your life, Joe. And then, why did that have to happen to me? I'd rather have not. Well, I mean, they're interesting. It leads for an interesting life. That's another, yeah. I guess it's exciting. But at the time, you're going, oh, what the heck? What is this? So here's another story. There came a day when I was pushing a shopping cart full of groceries out to my car in my local supermarket parking lot. On the way to my car, a car stopped next to me, and the driver rolled the window down. I recognized the face, and it was of a man that was a well-educated and highly respected man in our community. I would consider this man to be an old friend of mine. So yeah, I'm going, pushing the cart, and here comes this friend. I had to qualify him as being highly educated because I'm about to tell you a story that you're not going to believe. So I had to qualify this friend as being highly educated. He's telling a story, okay? So I would consider this man to be an old friend of mine. I said, hey, Doug, how have you been? The only thing he said was, what the hell is happening? with a perplexed look on his face. I asked him if he was okay and what was bothering him. He shook his head. He shook that look off his face and said, I'm not really sure if I want to tell you because you might think less of me afterwards. I said, enough of all that talk. Let me know what's bothering you. He paused for another few seconds and said, okay, Joe, let me park my car first. He parked his car and followed me back to my car as I started to load my groceries into my car. He then asked me, how long have you been shopping here? I said, as you can see, Doug, by the number of grocery bags I have, I've been here for about at least 45 minutes. He says, well, Joe, I don't know how to say this and process it, but I just had a conversation with you at the shopping plaza across town less than 15 minutes ago. Now, as me, how do I accept that? You listening to this, like, well, I know that's a lie, Joe. Maybe you're saying, I know that's a lie. Say what you want, but it's true. If it's not true, was it entertaining? But no, it's true. But so I'm thinking, how the heck's this guy see me across town? I've been shopping over here for 45 minutes. He pulls up the car. He's going nuts looking at me. And he's telling me he just had a conversation with me across town at the Big End, the plaza across town. So this is completely insane, Joe, and something is definitely effed up. As he spoke these words, I could see the color draining from his face. I could understand that Doug was completely out of sorts, and until that moment, I had never heard Doug swear once. Look at these crazy facts, Joe, Doug shouted in a strong, authoritative voice. And this guy was a mild-mannered guy, like, cool dude. And he said, look at this fact. And I'm like, yeah, what do you want me to say? You're telling me there's two of me, one's over on the other side. Well, what do you want me to say, brother? First of all, I see you leaving the other plaza 10 to 15 minutes ago. Secondly, I pull into this plaza, and you were obviously shopping for at least a half hour. Maybe I'm going crazy, Joe, but there's no way it's logically possible that you could be in two places at the same time. I don't know how to address that. Then, now, or whatever. But this period of time, there was strange things happening after those demons were in that room with that overdose. And they were encroached on my life and stirring up all kinds of crazy shit. Until you experience stuff like that, you'll critique and judge these types of things. And maybe you won't believe them. But when you experience, demons and demonic things that happen, it'll change your whole life view and of how you look at the world. But we believe in I believe in Jesus. We believe in God and everything. So go ahead. We know that we could be protected by these things. Hopefully be protected. So I said, well, Doug, what did we talk about while I was on the other side of town? You said you saw me on the other side of town. I'm in two places at once. So I'm curious. Well, what did we talk about? He said that we were basically catching up on our life since the last time we saw each other. Makes sense. I asked him, how did that transpire? He said that we were in our cars with the windows down talking to each other for probably 2 to 3 minutes. We parted our ways and I drove directly here, Joe, and I could see that you've been shopping here during that time. It obviously took you at least a half hour to finish your shopping here, Joe. Well, Doug, I don't know what to tell you other than it was good to see you again. And that's all I can tell you. Well, Joe, that's crazy and strange, Doug said, while he offered his hand out for me to shake. I shaked him. He's good, man. What the hell? Some crazy shit happened. So I shook his hand, gave him a pat on the back. I said, it sure is, Doug, but it was good to see you just the same. Not only once, Doug, but twice. I saw you today. I jokingly replied back to him. He must not have found that too humorous because he kept walking straight to his car, never turning around. I felt the story. Wait a minute. I felt a little sorry for the poor bastard because I know he got spooked real bad that day. Yeah. Yeah, Doug, it was nice seeing you. Well, yeah, not once but twice. Remember my twin body in the other plaza? Sorry about that. Poor guy. And this time period that led up, there was this time period leading up to my overdose, and a lot of strange, eerie things were happening, and on a daily event. And it's like I didn't put them all in here, but all right. This story you're not gonna believe, and that's all there is to it. Whatever, whatever. But you better believe it because it's true. Okay, folks, come on, give me a break. The next story starts with me and my friend Sarah staying at her sister's house out of town. We had been staying out there for about a week. They had a beautiful house located at the top of a hill surrounded by a forest of trees. Beautiful nature. We're sitting on two lawn chairs in the backyard, and her sister and brother-in-law were on the back patio. Out of nowhere, I felt this strong urge to have everyone tightly focus and observe just how beautiful their estate and Mother Nature was. Yeah, I'm like, look how beautiful this is. Beautiful estate. Look, I'm telling them, they're thinking I'm nuts. So, look at the trees, look at the beautiful sky, and listen to the beautiful sounds of nature, I suddenly hollered out. I was completely captivated and felt as one as I was one with nature. Everyone took it all in stride and said, "Yes, Joe, everything is quite beautiful out here." By the tone of their statement, I felt as if they were trying to be nice, but were not feeling what I was feeling. A few minutes of silence then followed. I continued to sit completely hypnotized by nature's beauty. Yeah, they're like, "Yeah, Joe, it's all nice and everything." To kind of give me a little brush off. I think I got a little aggy. But a couple more minutes had passed, and I had noticed a beautiful butterfly flying 30 to 40 feet above all of us. I hollered out, "Look, look, everyone, at the beautiful butterfly flying over us." Sarah then said, "Yeah, that's nice, Joe, but please stop it." I barked back, "Why, am I embarrassing you? Whatever. Yeah, look at the butterfly." I also said, "Maybe I just happen to enjoy God's nature more than other people." And with a somewhat sarcastic voice, she replied, "Yeah, you probably do, Joe." "Yeah, well, I do, honey. I do." I felt a little angry and insulted as I looked back up at the butterfly. Then, like a lightning bolt, a crazy thought crashed into my mind. It not only entered my mind, but I was convinced that I could pull it off. This thought convinced me that I could call that butterfly out of the air and order it to land in my hand. I then shared my thought with everyone, saying, "Look at that beautiful butterfly, everyone. I'm going to call it out of the air and make it land in my hand." Look, now, you people are going to think I'm nuts, but you know what? This is a true story. They all laughed, and Sarah said, "Please, Joe, you're starting to embarrass me, and you've gone a little too far this time." I completely ignored her while I stood up and put my hand out straight in front of me. "Come on, butterfly. Come on, butterfly. Come on, butterfly." I started chanting as their laughs grew louder. At this time, Sarah's nephew appeared on the back porch and asked, "What the hell's going on out here?" They laughingly told him, "Joe's trying to call that butterfly up there out of the sky and make it land on his hand." He had nothing to say as I continued my chanting. After a couple of chants, the butterfly had drawn to within about 20 feet of me. I said, "Look, it's getting closer," and everyone remained silent. I continued chanting. Now, this was crazy, and I was on drugs at the time, too. I was still on drugs. I continued chanting until it came to about 10 feet from me. And it just kind of hovered there for a few seconds. Sarah then said, "You've got to admit, I can't believe it. I can't believe he got it to come this close to him. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Come on, you can do it." I faithfully hollered to the butterfly. Now you think I was crazy, right? I just was compelled to do this something. I seen it, just something said, I'll call this butterfly. I don't know what the hell, I don't know how to process it, okay? That's that. But it's a true story. It's a true story. And I could say the lady's name, but she don't want to be exposed in my book. I could say the people's name that witnessed it. But they don't want to be exposed and tied to a story like that because then somebody might think they're crazy. But it was true. That's fear. Oh, what do people think about me? Well, it was true, so don't be scared. Fear. Okay, so come on, you can do it. I got my hand out. Come on, you can do it. I faithfully hollered to the butterfly. Then within a moment's flash, the butterfly then landed on my upper forearm. Sarah then hollered out, oh my God, he did it. Her sister and brother-in-law remained silent, and her nephew in a sort of wise-ass tone said, yeah, Joe, but it didn't land on your hand. Oh, really? Jeez. Okay, it did land on my hand. Okay. I then looked down at the butterfly and said, come on, you can do it. You can do it. I had my hand stretched out. He was on my forearm. I said, you can do it. You can do it. And then like a story out of a Ripley's Believe It or Not, the butterfly then walked all the way down my forearm to the palm of my hand. This is a true story. And I don't know if it was demonic or angelic of how this happened. Or it would just happen for just to happen. So it walks down to the palm of my hand. Sarah and her sister then screamed out, oh my God, what's going on here? The butterfly was still in the palm of my hand while everyone on the back porch, they ran into the house. They hauled ass. They said, let's get out of here. We don't want to be around this crazy shit. Sarah and I were still outside and the butterfly still rested in the palm of my hand. I then told her, and I don't know why, I could make the butterfly fly away whenever I wished to. She said, you're starting to scare me, Joe, but I'll be a sport and play along with you. I then told her that she could tell me when she wanted the butterfly to fly away. About another minute passed by, and then she instructed me to tell the butterfly to fly away. I then said, go ahead, God's beautiful creation. You can fly away now. As soon as these words were finished coming out of my mouth, the butterfly flew up from my hand in a direct line toward my face, and I dodged it. This thing flew right back and it flew back up toward the sky. Yeah, imagine that. Yeah, it happened. By the time that finished happening, Sarah's sister was calling her over to the back patio. They had a brief conversation and Sarah then walked back to me. She said, I'm sorry, Joe, but my sister said that you are no longer welcome at her house anymore. Like, they don't want me around. I'm there visiting with Sarah. We're staying. But it's like, you gotta go. I said, that's fine. Just let me grab my things and we can get on the road and to take me back home. We went back into the house and I could hear their loud voices echoing from the front room. Once they realized that I was in the house, their voices grew silent. I could understand their feelings, but at the same time, they made me feel like some kind of freak. Sarah looked at me and said, don't say a word, Joe. Just get your things and I'll take you back home. I grabbed my things and I made it to the bottom of the stairs. I had approached the front room. Sarah hollered to me and said, no, Joe, no, just let it go. I ignored her wishes and I was now standing in the doorway of the front room. No one could even look at me eye to eye. I said, thanks for opening up your house to me, and I'm sorry if you all got spooked over what had happened. They still sat in silence as I turned to walk away. I thought to myself, that's okay. That's a little much to process. Within a couple of minutes, I was on the highway heading back home, and I was also trying to process what had happened that day. The next story is crazier and pulls harder at my heartstrings, And it goes like this. Well, I'm not going to read that story. You've heard enough already, folks. What is that story, anyways? What chapter? Oh, and then that's the next guy's over. My buddy's overdose, which happened within a few months after that. Yeah, yeah. And he overdosed, and then I overdosed less than a year after that. Yeah. All right, folks. I just want to do something this morning and get something done. You see me talk about the book, the book, the book. Well, there's a couple stories in there. You get a little better idea of what is what. I'm gonna probably end up reading the whole book. I don't even want to try to sell these damn things anymore. I mean, I give them away. So if I'm gonna give them away, I could just read some of the stories here anyway. So that's all right. So all right, thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you next time, maybe Sunday, and try to read a couple chapters or something. If anybody has any stories, any questions about whatever I just talked about, then I'm open for questions, interacting. Like I said in the other videos, I wouldn't mind interacting with people. So that's it. That's it. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great and blessed day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.